Today we are diving into a question that's on a lot of people's minds. Why is BRICS suddenly running everything? You might be skeptical. Running everything sounds like an exaggeration. But by the end of this video, we will unpack the data. We will analyze the strategy, and we will reveal something hard to ignore. BRICS, now expanded and more unified than ever, is fast becoming the core of a new global era, both economically and politically. Have you noticed a shift? It's subtle but massive. For decades, Western power ran the global stage. But now, another force has been rising, quietly, consistently. Forget the old image of BRICS as fractured and slow moving. What we are seeing is a real shift in power. It's not just about diplomacy, it affects real life, from your grocery bill to major trade deals. We're not just throwing buzzwords around. This is grounded in data. We will look at reports, expert takes, and what's happening on the ground. Get ready to challenge what you thought you knew. Let's get into it. We start with a simple but powerful fact. BRICS has grown fast, not just in size, but in influence. It began as five: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now it is bigger. Full members include Iran, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, and, since the beginning of this year, Indonesia. Partner nations now include Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Thailand, Uganda, Nigeria, Algeria, and Uzbekistan. This isn't just about adding names to a list. It shows that more countries see BRICS as a serious option, a real alternative. BRICS Plus, the expanded version, now represents over half of the global population. 6 of the 10 most populous countries are part of it. That's huge. This gives BRICS real weight. It can claim to speak for a large share of humanity. The old Western story that BRICS is divided and weak is falling apart, and we can see it. But having lots of people doesn't always mean power. What's driving BRICS' rise is its economic muscle. Let's talk numbers. In purchasing power parity, which adjusts for cost of living, BRICS makes up 35% of global GDP. That's more than the G7's 30%. Some estimates put BRICS Plus at over 41% of the world's GDP. This isn't about the future. This is today's reality. The world's economic center is moving, and it's moving fast. This kind of power brings influence, especially in key industries that run the world economy. So, what has BRICS actually done? We are about to break it all down. But first, like, share, and subscribe. That boosts visibility for this video. Want to go further? Support us via Super Thanks, buy me a coffee, or check out the Think BRICS shop. We have got merch, so you can make a statement. All links are below. Now let's get into the details. Food security. Together, the BRICS countries produce nearly half of the world's grain. We are talking staples: sugarcane, maize, wheat, rice, palm oil, and potatoes. Big crops, big numbers. The establishment of the BRICS Grain Exchange changes the game. It will let members trade in their own currencies. No more relying on the US dollar. No need for Western financial systems. This may create a more stable, independent trade setup. It also lowers transaction costs, and it could protect BRICS nations from Western sanctions. Russia and Brazil are major food exporters. China and Egypt are big importers, and they are in the bloc. So BRICS is now a major force in global food trade. The ripple effect could be huge. Some analysts believe BRICS has a responsibility here, a responsibility to counter food market monopolization and to push for fair, balanced global food chains. We made several videos about these topics. Go and watch them. Energy powerhouse. BRICS includes 5 of the world's top 10 oil producers. With new members added, BRICS Plus could control 42% of the global oil supply. That's nearly half the planet's oil. OPEC Plus still manages oil prices for now, What about the long-term implications? This shift in energy production could reshape the market. Russia is also building nuclear power plants worldwide. Current projects include Egypt, Hungary, Brazil, Bangladesh, Turkey, and Nigeria. This expands BRICS' reach in global energy far beyond oil. Manufacturing muscle. BRICS Plus nations are heavily investing in tech and infrastructure. They are boosting their manufacturing strength across the board. Cars, electronics, textiles, pharmaceuticals, all getting more competitive. And it's not just scale, it's smarts. Automation and AI are transforming production. These aren't yesterday's factories. They are forward-looking, tech-driven industries. China, for example, is leading in iron making. That's shaking up global iron ore and steel markets. The battle for critical minerals. Now we are into strategic territory. BRICS is gaining control over the world's most essential resources. We are talking rare earth elements and critical minerals. The stuff that powers electric vehicles, AI, and clean energy. BRICS countries hold 72% of the world's rare earth reserves. That's staggering. Demand for these materials is exploding. China saw this coming years ago. They poured billions into African mining sector, especially in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the top source of cobalt. Cobalt is key for electric vehicle batteries. And here is the wild part. American companies once dominated cobalt mining in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but they sold the stakes to Chinese firms. Now China holds a near monopoly on cobalt and copper in the region. The race for Africa's resources is fierce, but China got a head start and it's playing off. To stay ahead, BRICS is building something new, a BRICS geological platform. The goal? Shared research, tech, and strategy for mineral development. They want sustainable control over the most vital materials of the future. So, where does all this lead? BRICS now hold power in food, energy, manufacturing, and minerals. That's serious leverage. But they're not stopping at economics. They're aiming at the system itself, challenging the US dollar, questioning the dominance of Western banks, and pushing for a different kind of global order. The Trump's tariffs did something unexpected. Instead of reinforcing the dollar's dominance, it gave BRICS a push toward de-dollarization. More countries are now looking for ways to trade without using the dollar, and they're strengthening ties inside the BRICS bloc to do it. Putin put it bluntly, the dollar isn't what it used to be. In just 4 years, its grip has weakened. Why? Because it's being used as a political weapon. That makes other countries nervous. So now digital currencies and new payment methods are picking up steam. Even Europe is now thinking of creating its own credit card system. The goal? Cheaper, more reliable transactions without the strings attached. China is leading this shift. Over half of its international payments are now settled in renminbi, not dollars. Brazil and Russia already trade in their own currencies. India is exploring similar options. BRICS is even working on a new international payment system, one that could run outside SWIFT. That would be a huge step toward financial independence. This isn't about killing the dollar, it's about creating options. A multipolar financial system with real alternatives, less risk, more flexibility. Africa's shift toward BRICS adds more weight to this transformation. Over the past 25 years, the continent has turned away from the United States and turned toward China. In sub-Saharan Africa, public opinion favors China about 3-1. Why? Because China is building, not bombing. Schools, hospitals, roads, airports. In contrast, the US is often seen as a force of destabilization. All talk and little benefit. China's Belt and Road Initiative and its partnership with BRICS offer something different, a path to development without outside interference. In many places in Africa, that means a lot. The US is viewed as the architect of decades of war. China is seen as the one building infrastructure. When Trump cut aid to South Africa over land reform, it backfired. It alienated a key African country and pushed it closer to BRICS. That's the broader trend. More nations are turning away from the old global order and looking for a new one. The BRICS summit in Rio this July could mark a turning point. Top of the agenda: strengthening trade, boosting cooperation, and expanding the bloc's influence. Alex Christoforou said it best on our channel: BRICS is putting the pieces in place. Piece by piece, they are building an economic system that stands out on its own. So, is BRICS suddenly running everything? Maybe not suddenly. This has been building for years. But now it's hard to miss. In food, energy, minerals, and finance, BRICS is leading. Africa's alignment adds even more power. Western tariffs, they have only sped things up. We are moving toward a multipolar world. New voices, new trade routes, new rules. Supply chains, prices, and politics, all of it is being reshaped. So stay informed. Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.